Conway Stewart. It's still a name that is out there in fountain pens today. You can find modern Conway Stewart pens, and a couple of them I've looked at and went, love to have it like the big old Churchill model. This is a vintage model from the 1950s, a Conway Stewart 75. You can actually still see some of the imprint here on it. Some of it's worn just a little bit, but you can see it's a model 75 made in England. Conway Stewart started right around 1905 from my research, and there was two guys who were with the De La Rue Pen Company, the makers of Onoto, O-N-O-T-O, fountain pens, and they started their own company, neither of which was named Conway nor Stewart. So they formed a pen company of their own, and they started to produce some beautiful pens. This particular one looks to be, based upon what I can read of the colors that were produced for the 75 model, possibly raspberry would be the color. And look at that gorgeous looking plastic slash celluloid that you've got. So, you had that nickel plating here on a clip, and you can see they've got a convex finial right there on the cap. You've got a band here, lever filler, and it tapers down to another convex end here. From what I understand, the Model 75 was not their top end, was not their bottom end either, but was somewhere in the middle from the best that I can read. I'll put some links down below in the video description for you to be able to check out that you can go do your own reading as well. Now, when I got this pen, there was really no description as to what kind of condition it was in. I tore it apart. It actually had a very pliable sac in here, but I couldn't get it to work. I got it to be able to draw in ink, and I could not get it to write. So I had to tear it apart, ripped off the sac, doing what I hoped I wouldn't have to do. The exterior of the pen was actually in very good shape. I still gave it a good polishing after that, though. But I was hoping not to have to tear the thing apart, but I did. It's got a nice number 3 Conway Stewart nib on it. I'll get you a better picture of that, I think, as I had it torn apart. And you can see its feed there. That feed, surprisingly, is actually pretty long, and it actually extends past the little nipple on the inside for that. I filled this thing up with some Waterman's Intense Black, so you can see that there is black ink there on that nib. So this particular pen, obviously, a small section. It's a little smaller than I particularly care for when I am using a fountain pen, but I can deal with it, and I figured let's enjoy it. So let's go ahead and post it. I do like to post my pens if I can. So let's put nib to paper and see how this baby writes. Conway Stewart 75. This actually, believe it or not, this number 3 nib actually is a very smooth nib. I was actually impressed with it. I didn't know it was going to write as smoothly as it did once I finally tore it apart, put it back together, and got it to write, but it is a very smooth nib. And it's actually a wet writer too. Let's see what we can do see about getting any flex. You get a little bit of flex coming out of it. Not necessarily meant to be a flex nib, but it is a nib that doth flex. So it actually is fairly decent. I've actually enjoyed this particular pen since I've had it. Like I told you earlier, I put in some Waterman Intense Black. So there you go. This is the latest vintage pen that I added to my collection, and I got it up and running about a week or so ago, and I've been pulling it out and playing with it and writing with it. And once in a great while I'll have a little bit of a hard start when it's been sitting for a little bit. but that may just take a little more nib work for me. Maybe eventually ripping off that sack yet again, knocking that nib out yet again, and putting it back in. I do know that the nib seems to not be quite as set inside the pen as it was when I first got it, but that was as far in as I was going to get it. So I may have to tinker with it a little bit more, but I wasn't so ambitious as to pull it apart yet again and resack it yet again after I first played with it. But I'm actually pretty happy with how it writes. I can't really complain other than, you know, me tinkering with it just a little more. I love the gorgeous color of that that raspberry color that's on this particular pen. It did come in other colors, and if I haven't already, you'll see a graphic of the various colors that the number 75 had in its lineup. I also found a really neat video. Steph over at Grand Mia Pens. I found a video from him on this exact pen, and actually the same model, even the same color, even though his was colored slightly different than this one, but the same general color indeed. But I'll put a link to his video on it as well. So from like the 1950s is my understanding about when this particular pen came out. Still doing the lever thing in the 50s. And overall, I'm actually kind of happy with my Conway Stewart 75. They're still out there. I got this one fairly inexpensively. I did some hunting and pecking. I've gone after a lot of Conway Stewarts over the past couple of years, but I was mighty picky about it, and I wanted the right pen at the right price. So when I finally found a decent price on one, I went ahead and picked it up and did a little bit of work on it, got it resurrected back to life. So now I've got a Conway Stewart here in my vintage pen collection.
Hey, it's Troy here. I want to take a real quick minute to do a couple of things. Number one is to thank you. Thank you for watching my channel and my videos and helping the channel to grow. And speaking of helping it grow, I would greatly appreciate if you would just hit the subscribe button. If you're not already a subscriber to this channel, that'll help me to keep content coming to you here on YouTube. Also, if you want to help this channel continue to thrive and get the word out, I have some t-shirts, fountainpenfanatic.com, which is a URL to this channel. T-shirts available for you at about the lowest price that I can possibly charge for them with the manufacturer that I'm using. That'll get you a great quality t-shirt and will help get the word out about this particular channel. And also discount codes. Look in the video description all the time on every video for a discount code to go purchase pens at a marked discount for you, simply for being a viewer and subscriber to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the kind words and the feedback that I get from you, my viewers.